It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now. No need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
Well, look what the doc dug up. You're lucky they didn't notice just how thin you were under those bandages. Although, seeing someone wrapped up like that, they probably thought you had the scabbing plague. Heh? Look, laugh, but don't touch. Better keep that hood down, mind you. The living don't take kindly to seeing their future staring back at them.
Playing dead, are you? Probably a good idea. Animal supply, freight, or food?
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
Banded like a chicken's leg, but not much meat on your bones. That may be so, but look at the flies. Ban wisdom. Flies know when a creature will die. And it's around your head they're buzzing, not mine.
With two shakes of her stumpy tail, the sheep turns away from you to peruse her hay-filled manger. Did you expect a needle?
And I'm back where I started. Nowhere to go but up. Not the most elegant solution, was it?
Get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in? Your guess is as good as mine. Someone screamed loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of. Just dragged me down here. Set me free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think. A gentleman among jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both get something out of the deal.
I should have known there'd be trouble.
The prisoner's buoyant voice darkens as his gaze finds the sunken hollows that once held your eyes. Ah, freedom. Tastes better than wine. I'm nothing if not a man of my word. And I did give my word I'd set you free, lad. Say your prayers while you've breath to speak them. The halls await.
What would he have to gain by killing me? Strange forces at work.
Why, you're looking a bit more chipper. Yes, there you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters.
No known associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time with the others.
No. You're alive, and you're having a conversation. You are on a ship, of course, but luckily for us both, we're merely sailing the plain old sea.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those Source spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
You better stop before you hurt yourself. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast Source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
Good. A young Magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass. Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. You surprised? You're one of them. You know what sorcerers are capable of? Whoever did this found a way around their collar and killed a man. Small ones this time, thank the gods. We'll find out who did it, one way or another.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Finn was killed by Source. If a Magister could do that, there wouldn't be a Magister. It looks more like a passenger managed to slip their collar. And the rest, well, you see the evidence in front of you. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Thanks. I just want to catch whoever did this before they hurt anyone else. Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already here?
The pale young woman doesn't acknowledge you. She nods.
I'm not suited for this. It's sea cow, not sea sheep. Go on then. Make it quick, before I lose my cud.
A no doesn't become a yes over time.
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like. Rolling dice. Deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past in flesh. One of the perks of being an elf, you see. I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She looks at you in surprise when you bare an arm of bone.
My. Guess I'll have to find out the memory from Marrow, won't I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers, watching, staring at them, hoping that none would stare back. You were thinking of flesh, or to be rather more precise, the pleasures of the flesh, those that have eluded you for so long.
She pats you on the shoulder consolingly.
There, don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us didn't kill our own. Picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? Insufferable, surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Lohse woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You presume right. Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
You look like my daddy. His name is Frida. He's waiting for me at home.
Do you know Lohse? She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. La 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 la.
I'm here because I'm magic. Are you here because you're weird? Sing us a song. I know you can.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
You know all about it.
Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
This again.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on. And we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up. Mad? Insufferable? Surely. I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Keep those bolts trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Go take your sob story somewhere else.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp Ifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. Ifan seems amused at the gesture, but he bats your arm down from the salute when the Magister sees what you're doing.
You served?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
He shoots you an odd look, then barks a laugh and shakes his head.
Sure feels that way to me, too. Soon as it's over, nobody wants to hear anything but tales of glory. Served Lucian myself. A long, long time ago now. Long before Source became reason to leash a man like a dog.
He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword, and now he's Johnny Big Pants. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Fane, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the Ringmaster himself. Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You! What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
Come on, please, Lohse.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
It was one of them. I know it.
Come on, please, Lohse.
How
Never
dare you
thought you'd end
classify
up a
this
prison
slop
guard,
as food?
Vic.
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else
Your
I can
kind
make, Your
always hung
Majesty.
closest to our
Turnips and
divine,
water are all I was given.
around a campfire.
Unacceptable.
Well,
I've never
we've
dined
got
on
this
anything less
wolf on
than a
the leash now.
dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to
As
do
soon as
away
the
with
Inquisitor gets here, we'll hand you right over the side of the ship with him.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Why won't you sing? A no doesn't become a yes over time.
Is sure about that? What's your name?
No!
Gods, did your mother teach you any manners?
She got eaten by a void woken.
Forget it.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right. I always knew you'd turn out rotten Ben Neston. Your kind always come closest to our divine, like wolves around.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this... Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
I'm inspecting your teeth, in case that wasn't spectacularly obvious. There's some discoloration, as well as a rather disconcerting lack of tongue and gums, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook? And of course, a cook who can't taste is about as useful as a dog in a chess game. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor? Oh, but to feel the caress of satin on my scarlet skin once more. A most satisfactory answer indeed. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after. The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can tailor and groom, but you have the taste buds of a dung beetle. Still, beggars can't be choosers. So without further ado, I offer you my sincerest congratulations. As of now, you are my slave. My slave, of course. Oh, but I see. Yes, I suppose it must take some time for the full extent of this honor to sink in. Anyway, you may leave me for a moment. We'll go over your duties once we reach Fort Joy. Now shoo!
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions.
I've seen more appetizing things.
He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that? The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash, and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Sick as a leper's cat. From the state of it, I'd say she's being cared for by a bunch of beardless babes who never loved anyone but their own mums. But there's more. Listen close. There now, just like that. Squeak! Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news. No, you beautiful idiot. That wasn't any rat. It was the wheel. Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy. Captain, actually. And that figure tells me we're getting close to the Joy. Close to what lies beyond it, too.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
He continues stroking his beard, a beatific smile on his lips, and doesn't acknowledge you anymore.
You one of them? A Divine Order loyal? They killed a sorcerer, you know. They'll hide the evidence well enough, but make no mistake.
Your kind always hung closest to the fire. As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, right outside the ship.
You, Jill, is that right? I've a few questions for you. You are Jill, aren't you?
I ain't saying nothing.
Bloody dwarves. I'll come back to you, and you better be ready to talk here.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard.
You! Sorcerer! Blood? No! Go! Ruff!
Your kind always hung closest to our
Name? I don't like comedy. The Divine Order wants to know. Well, you aren't here on my list. Scrammy. We're trying to catch a killer here.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out and examines your bandages, rubbing them between his fingers.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history?
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Well, there has been a murder.
Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No, I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book or respond to your questions.
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far? Trust me, with Bishop Alexander in charge, things will get a lot better from here on out. He's God-woken, you know. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
You seem on edge, officer.
Your kind always hung closest.
And I strongly suspect you know all about it.
Do you? Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
Keep those bolts trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
You seem on edge, officer. What on earth is the matter?
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking Magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella.
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Scene. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened?
Murder most foul, and I strongly suspect you know all about it.
Bobs, didn't your mother teach you any manners?
She got eaten by a Voidwoken.
Forget it.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
Sing us a song. I know you can.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty.
Come on. Please, Lohse.
A no doesn't become a yes over time, you know.
Shoot to kill.
Do you? Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
been the turnips. You dare strike a royal? Ooh.
The lizard's eyes close as he slips into unconsciousness. The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor, his great beard twisted and tangled around him. He is stock still. You can't see if he's living or dead. You hear a faint thud, thud, thud. He's alive, but only just. Ifan lies motionless, curled on the ground like an animal. Under his shaggy hair, you can see green eyes fluttering as if in a nightmare. A low whine escapes his lips. His eyes flicker open, but he doesn't register your presence at all.
Lucien. Lucien.
Ifan cries out, then his eyes fall closed again. No matter how much you shake him now, he cannot be roused. The young woman lies in a heap on the floor. She's breathing normally, but her eyes are wide open, like those of a corpse. Dark, grayish-black clouds swirl through them. She doesn't stir.
No, not the final dark. Not yet.
Her hand lies limp in yours. She's too weak to stand.
The dice roll darkly. They're rolling for me.
The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound.
find another way. God damn it! Need to get off this wreck, and quick!
The Hound paws desperately at its snout. It winces as it draws blood from its wet, black nose and continues scratching. The dog notices you for the first time and snarls, the hairs on its back prickling as it lowers itself into a lunge.
You sorcerer!
It sneezes suddenly and paws at its nose once more.
Can't smell. Can't breathe. Too much sauce. Too much. Please, make it stop.
Sorcerer!
The dog whines and continues pawing at its nose.
Long before this thing snaps into splinters. Onwards and upwards! Thank the gods! By divine grace, who was that howling?
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reaches a hand towards his blade.
Another sorcerer! Like you don't know? Mutiny! Did that witch fix your collar too? Go! Do what you must.
Bishop Alexander, if Lucian were alive, what would he think of his son's divine order?
Pounding on the hull!
Through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid. No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
Yes, indeed. It's the look of someone that wants to read the bloody book he's holding. Now, if you're really quite finished, I believe you have lifeboats to flee to. Please, I was no more an elf than you are those rags you're wearing. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands. Indeed, just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death, so...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book. On the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is, a warning of Deathfog within. You press your palm against the door to open it. Your fingers clack against the wood, and you suddenly feel grey. The touch leaves you numb, dull. It doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
Deathfog. Good thing I'm immune. Still, this means trouble.
The marking on the... You picked up the door.
Something's breaking through! What the hell are those things? guards.
Shut your trap, kid. Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you! There's a ladder right over there. You can go straight down.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
Wait! Void Woken!
Bugs would sink the ship on my watch.
I thought Void Woken was supposed to be scary.
Let the games begin.
I've faced worse.
About to triumph. This old town is about to burst.
They smell even worse dead than alive. Let's head above decks.
Away! The sea's hungry. We don't have much time.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
Those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor? It seems someone, something, wanted me alive.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers.
The child considers your statement.
You're weird. Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching the shadows cloaking your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong or crazy. No one cares where I go. They know I can't leave the island. It's nicer out here than inside anyway. They're gone now. The Magisters took them already. I guess now they're cured. And maybe they're waiting for me back at home. But you didn't die. I guess I am. But it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see.
This statue must be 1,000 years old. Wonder how much longer it will last. Voidwoken. Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn. They've made it to shore.
Look here, Quercus. Another giant. My word, this blasted isle is teeming with them. Was that? Yes, I did see how it managed to survive an attack by the Great Acorn's servants. Impressive, just as you say. But that is no reason to trust it. Giants like that destroyed our forests. They are the very reason the Great Acorn is returning in all its wrath. What? Dear me, have you taken leave of all 6 of your senses? You would have me use this giant for a shield? Why would I... Oh, but I see. You are a cunning devil, Quercus. Of course, if it escaped the Great Acorn's vile servants, it can do so again. We need only follow in its big, wide shadow and be safe. Egad! It speaks our tongue, Quercus! Hush before... What do you mean, a good time for introductions? You know full well who I am, you silly old cat. The great Sir Lora, grandest of the... Oh, introduce myself to the giant. I shall do no such thing. You give away your trust too easily, my dear steed. No, we will have the giant march. In time, we'll see whether it deserves our confidence. Now, onwards! Shield! Venture forth, post-haste. The Great Acorn waits for no one.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red color. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, 2 smoldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
I did survive, yes. And chances are I wouldn't have, had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hold. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? Nevertheless, one good turn does deserve another, so... As far as the whole slave business is concerned, let's just forget about it. You may as well have your freedom. Now then, if there's nothing further... If you really must know, I haven't quite decided yet. I've a frightful amount of things on my mind, hence my standing here contemplating the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Memories. Quite so.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. What do you mean, what do I mean? I mean just what I say. I had a very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? The very same. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the Spouse of the Sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. Truly. A kind offer indeed. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the others on that ship, after all. Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. Jolly good. Oh, my word. How you do astound me. Come now, did you really think a handful of linen towels can fool me? But don't worry. I have studied the arcane arts for years, including necromancy and demonology. I do not hold the petty prejudices of common folks. In fact, I prefer the exceptional in all things. Your secret is safe with me. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic, and yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards then to victory or death.
The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be traveling with a prince. Proper forms of address include your Majesty, your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, Milord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado, let us be off.
should I put this one?
A black cat. A herald of wisdom in my homeland. How fortuitous.
The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but it stares at you with acute intensity.
What? How did I get... Hey, stop following me. Huh? Yeah, fine. I'm fine. I'm not sure. It's all a little foggy.
The cat opens his mouth as if to speak, but his eyes lose focus, and with a jerk he turns away from you.
What's this? I found something.
Hey, mister. It's a lot nicer here than that stinking boat, huh? I'm sure glad you went back to save the others. Saw one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore a few hours ago. Say hi for me. I never... Hey, mister. It's a lot... I'm sure glad...
Your Godwoken has asked you a question. Answer him.
But I know nothing of any Verdus.
We already know the truth, Magister. Now speak.
I am a proud loyal to the Order.
We already know the truth, Magister. Now speak.
I am a proud loyal to the Order. I would not dream of subverting our cause.
Atusa, please.
Your Godwoken has asked you a question. Answer him.
Need I repeat myself?
But I know nothing of any Verdus.
We already know the truth, Magister. Now speak.
I am a proud loyal...
Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speaks.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapees.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use. Cut it out.
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come!
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Stay silent, you!
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop, and your friend these many years. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the Void destroy it. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe we're done here.
What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
The Lizard Magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
There's one Magister fewer for us to worry about.
That was rather spectacular. There must be more to this Dallis woman than meets the eye.
He hasn't changed a bit. Always late.
Come on, Legsy. Hurry up. Come on then, Legsy. Hurry up.
I find any bread. I want no trouble.
Bread or a brisket, toll's the same.
Your grift teaches you to bully others. Pathetic. This is not your business, long pig.
Don't let this moss muncher talk to you like that. Especially a cheapskate like this one. Griff already knows she don't like to pay her fair share.
An intense-looking man steps between the thug and the elf and rolls up his sleeves, revealing well-muscled and heavily scarred arms. You recognize him. It's Ifan, who you met aboard the ship on the way here.
Just stand aside, won't you, mate? This is no business of yours.
Lone wolves decide their own business.
The thug freezes in fear for a moment, before shuffling back to the protection of his crony.
Pay up, elf. No one shorts Griff. Especially not one of you. Runs the kitchen. Means he runs me, you, and everyone else in camp. Everyone in camp's got to contribute. For food, for protection, no exceptions. Especially not for elves. Griff's orders.
Food? Protection? I have neither.
You two ought to be thanking your lucky gods it's us, and not the Magisters enforcing round here. A fool never knows what they've got till it's well and gone. Now come on, elf. If you make me say it again, there's gonna be trouble.
Why, yes. Of course I am. All my life.
Hello, Dee? I would. And Paler.
He shifts uncomfortably.
Ah, get out of here, will ya? You ain't worth my time. Neither of you.
The elf smiles and bows to you in thanks.
Follow me, before more of them trouble us. There is a safe place.
You gonna pray all day, buddy?
Ifan rolls his sleeves back down. He nods at you, the shadow of a smile on his lips.
Good work there. Good work. I can tell you've got chops. Say, you were on the ship here with me, weren't you?
He stretches out one rough hand to shake yours.
Suit yourself. Probably wise, given the rashes you can pick up around this place. Say, you don't look all that busy now that we're safely on dry land. I could use someone to watch my back, and it looks like you could use someone to watch yours. I've just got a small errand to run. And then I'll be looking to get the hell out of here, while I've still got a neck to collar. How about we stick together until we get out of this place?
He shrugs, looking off to the side.
Mercenaries. It's a job. My job. Everyone needs to make a living. I make mine running errands.
He shoots you a flinty look, all teeth and peril.
Lone wolves only share such information with friends. Are we going to be friends?
He grins, sharp teeth glittering in the midday sun.
So, before we hit the road, it's best if we decide battle strategies up front. Should keep more of our blood in. Survival's my main priority. I'll use every trick in the book to keep us alive. But if a wayfarer's not what you're after, I've got other skills. What do you need? Can do. Onwards.
He scans the horizon for threats with one green eye, then nods back at you.
Right you are. Lead the way.
So good.
Stay down, you!
Who in their right mind would think of a thing like this?
Indigestion, or is it... Oh God, not now. I know you.
Lohse, the dark-eyed jokester you met aboard the ship, waves enthusiastically and dips into a mock elegant curtsy.
Back then, I was Madame Josephine Gribbles de Pube, and you were... you. Glad to see you made it. Nothing like a nice tentacle slap across the moor to set the tone for the week, eh? How'd you escape? Me too. Did you hear something? When you were in the water, I mean. I heard the same thing. Do you know what this means? It means I'm not the only...
Lohse's voice catches in her throat. The joy drains from her face. Her eyes lose focus, and her whole body goes rigid. She is stock-still, waxy-skinned, her eyes dark. Greyish-black veins run from her eyes down her cheeks. Her head snaps to you mechanically, and her eyes lock with yours, dark pupils dilated into great black voids. Light suddenly flashes back into her face. The grey veins drain to pinkish flesh, and her whole body relaxes.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Ah, it's nothing really. It's just... I'm just a bit... well, a bit... hospitable? Put it like this. You've never been a host, I bet. That's because you're an infested clump of leaves on the side of the road. That ain't bad, though. I'd give just about anything to be like you. But I'm a roadside inn. Red door, flowers out front, friendly lady at the door beckoning you in for half price. Like a goddamn gold star inn for the disembodied.
She gives you a searching look.
You seem pretty well adjusted. Ain't that just the truth? So, how are you enjoying the joy? Yeah, same story here. Reckon in my case, they might actually be right, though. So, you want to check this place out together? Strength in numbers and all that. It does, right? Before we head out, I've got more than a few tricks up my sleeve, so you'll have to pick which one I'll pull out if... when push comes to shove. Lately I've been into the enchanting arts, but I can shoot, slash, summon, steal, whatever your little black heart desires. So, what'll it be? Sounds fine. So, we're good to go? Yeah? Well, that was easier than I thought. And I'll do my best to stay myself. Lead the way. Well, duh. I'm sure that disguise will fool most people, but I'm a very sensitive and discerning soul. Most fleshy folks aren't really alive anyway. Don't sweat it. Or whatever it is you do. Now, let's go.
Here's the goods.
You hear anything, you come find me first.
messing with Griff's brutes anyhow?
Amid the squalor of Fort Joy, you suddenly spot an elf with diamond features, regal and radiant, but cold too, and sharper than any knife. She was the one who sat rolling dice in the ship that went under, deciding fates with every roll, or so she said. Her eyes are focused on a lizard some distance away, and you get the distinct feeling he's an unfortunate man indeed to be trapped in her tiger-like gaze. No sooner have these words left your mouth than she turns about and grabs you in a stranglehold. You feel the tip of a long needle being pushed a little ways into one of your neck's vertebrae.
You caught me off guard. No one catches me off guard. Better tell me who you really are, or this time, I'll let my needle do the licking. Not so very far from home, I'm sure. This is the turf of Magisters, and Magisters tend to be human. Like you.
A push, a pivot, and now you suddenly face her, the needle still all too deeply embedded in bone. Despite the precariousness of your situation, you notice something that remained undetected in the gloom of the ship. A flaw in her diamond features. A curiously shaped scar on her left cheek.
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a bad old time, a lizard cut this living scar into my cheek. The mark of a slave. But now I'm free, of sorts. And I've traced that lizard here, to Fort Joy. I intend to raise the subject with him.
She drives the needle in deeper and whispers.
In truth, it does not matter in the least who you really are. You saw me mark my prey. You could warn him, save him, or kill him before I get my chance. That makes you a liability. That makes you needle feed.
A bright sparkle of laughter follows your proposal.
Ha! How amusing. I admit I had not seen that twist coming. I was certain the pitiful begging was about to begin. Make your case and do it quickly. Why should I join you? Escape? How you do tickle me. Most of the misguided deers around here would argue such a thing is impossible. Well played. Oh, little needle mine, what should I do? Push or pull? The agony of choice. You know what? Today is a rather fine day. Sunshine and an easy breeze. Yes, I'll let you live. I'll even agree to travel with you, provided we talk to that lizard I mentioned. I'm not quite sure the weather will save him.
With a casual flick of the wrist, she withdraws the needle from your neck and smiles, as if she just invited you to sit down for tea.
Of course you are. Or do you mean to tell me memory is so fleeting within the hollows of that windswept head of yours that you don't recall me running my dainty tongue along your arm? This may strike you as, rather eccentric, but the thought of traveling with one such as yourself quite enthuses me.
She tilts her head ever so slightly and looks at you almost mockingly. You can't help but contemplate with both dread and delight the absolute darkness at the heart of her cat's eyes.
Yes, this will be jolly good fun. Let's discuss our respective roles then, shall we? You, me, and Death will be playing many a round of hide and seek. So, what role would you like me to play? As a rogue, my speciality is stealth, the quick silence of the dagger striking unseen. That said, I'm perfectly lethal wielding any weapon or magic. So, the choice is yours. Suits me fine. Lead on, or better yet, let me take the lead. Then follow me.
You're not quite certain you'll ever sleep soundly with Sebille in any sort of proximity, but at least she's on your side, for the moment.
Here's the goods. Like you wanted. Take your coin then. I got that special shipment you was asking after. Everything there? Good. Don't tell anyone where you got this, eh? Take your coin then.
Another giant speaks, Quercus. No, never. I will pay it no notice. One of its troop has an air of nobility about it, but this one... Ugh.
Surely you have one. What a crumbling disaster.
on, you stubborn hunk of garbage.
The dwarf's fingers clamp around a splintered chunk of wood nailed to the skeleton of an old ship. His whole body strains with the effort of wrenching the plank free, to no avail.
Ah! Got two of my own, haven't I?
The dwarf spits into each of his calloused palms and rubs them together before placing them both back on the plank and pulling.
Bleeding nail must be charmed or something. Go on then, give it a go.
You grab the plank and pull. The rusted nail pops loose, and the plank promptly crumbles to pieces in your hand.
Oh, look at that. Nice of you to finish the job after I loosened her up.
He winks and flips a gold coin toward you. It makes a long, high arc, glinting in the sun, and lands squarely in your hand.
For your trouble. I suppose it were a fool's errand thinking I could make something out of this heap, but I couldn't help myself from trying.
He sucks a finger and holds it up to the wind, testing the breeze.
Winds like these, she would have capsized before she reached the break. Well, on to plan B.
He gives you a wry look, as though deciding whether to trust you.
Aye, was planning to build me a raft and paddle off. I've got business north of here, in a town called Driftwood. Far be it from me to miss an appointment. Maybe you don't.
He stands before you and pokes you in the side, seizes your shoulder with a great, strong hand.
There's something of you, you know? You don't have to accept your fate on this bloody island. You can leave here, get on with your life. Why don't we make a deal then? You help me get out of this place, and I'll do the same for you. That's the spirit.
He lifts an invisible cap and bows with the grace of a courtier.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. The name's... well, the name's dead and buried. What matters is what they call me. Beast. Well, there's a new one. Hawk of the high seas, eh? I like it. I'll tell you when you're older. Anyhow, we're a team now, so the me is not half as important as the us. Let's get down to brass tacks. Fighting, I mean. I've been up and down the realm so often it'd make your cabbage spin, and I picked up a few tricks along the way. Truth be told, I've grown fond of crushing and casting. A battle mage, if you like. But there's not so important as team dynamics. So what'll it be? Then it's settled. Capital! Well, that's that sorted. Onward then. I've got to get out of here, and soon. And I suppose you do too. Ah well, my best mate's son is undead. Nothing to be ashamed of. Now, onward!
joy, the misery.
Where this leads.
As the alcove opens up, you see the same skeleton that you met on the boat before it sank. He's still not wearing his mask. He's leaning over a corpse, prodding and pulling at the skin of its face.
Bugger. How on earth am I supposed to... Oh. Perhaps...
Skeletal fingers reach down and grip the skin of the dead man's face, pulling sharply upwards. After a few more tugs at the man's cheeks, the skeleton relents, letting the head drop to the ground with a damp thud.
Damnation. That stuck fast. I wonder, does the beard act as some form of anchor? Ah! No! Stay back! Don't... Oh, it's you. I must admit I'm surprised. Perhaps you're more buoyant than I suspected. It seems the human that stole my mask was rather more resourceful than I gave her credit for. I chased her here, but she rather seems to have given me the slip. Thus...
He turns back to the body, prodding at its face cautiously.
Why, its face, of course. What other use would I have for some rotting corpse? A face that seems rather stubbornly attached to his skull.
I would normally employ a tool to delicately but viciously rip the face from the body.
I could then craft a mask to hide my bone. But as I lack such a tool...
The skeleton grabs the corpse by the cheeks and pulls hard, grunting in frustration as the body's skin holds firm.
Carved? Please. You hardly think I am one of your breed, do you? You have never seen anything like it because you have never met anyone like me. Simply put, I am an Eternal, and you are not. You have my sympathies. Indeed, no one seems to have the good taste to be. My people are rather absent.
At least from this realm. As for the others, well, there is an excavation site at the Black Pit's oil fields. Perhaps there I'll find my answers.
Well, that hardly seems relevant. But if you must know, I was inconvenienced for a time. Several centuries, in fact. Or perhaps millennia. One tends to lose track. I was sealed in a tomb for daring to be curious about the world. It seems our king did not agree that the universe should be explored to its full potential. Perhaps I should thank him. It seems I was spared whatever happened to the others. I wonder if flowers would be appropriate. A cult? Hardly. We were a race that existed before the idea of race was needed. We were all one. I could ask you to imagine an Eternal as a creature of incredible intelligence and skill. But I fear the limits of your imagination would not do us justice. We studied the mysteries of the universe. We created works of great art. We disappeared. But I will find them. Wherever they are, I will find them. We will have our world again. Ah, well, that is the curious thing. They are clearly absent from this world, and yet they are everywhere. Every one of your races resembles them in some manner, and the statues you have built to your gods look remarkably familiar. Perhaps my people have ascended to some new realm, or perhaps your gods are merely a folk memory. Regardless, they are not here. But I will find them. Wherever they are, I will find them. I suppose, circumstances being what they are, it could be advantageous. You seem more at ease in this world than I. A guide would certainly be useful. Excellent. While we are conversing, perhaps you notice that I am rather skilled in, well, all things. Of course, the arcane arts are my little speciality, but being a brilliant wizard does not mean I cannot handle blade or bow. So, which do you require for this enterprise of yours? I could do that with one hand behind my spine. Now, shall we get on? There is rather a lot to see. Splendid. Very well. Let's be off.
stare at the slain beasts and comment that they must have been the cause of the shipwreck.
They're just animals. Easy enough to euthanize.
They didn't put up much of a fight. Dry land mustn't suit them.
This is no time to stop for a conversation. More of these creatures could be nearby.
Poor creatures. I doubt they knew what they were doing, even if there does seem to be a touch of sentience to them.
It was good to see some of them bleed after what they did to the ship.
This is no time to linger. More of these things could still show up.
I don't relish having killed these creatures, but it couldn't be helped.
Drowned and eaten by a void woken. I wonder in which order.